Hello, my name's Meoni and welcome to a video about Final Fantasy XIV's patch 5.1. So the ultimate question, what exactly is in 5.1? So to start, the Nier Automata 24-player alliance raid is in, known as the Copied Factory, featuring a rich storyline and special guest characters from the Nier universe it's mentioned, including, as was shown, 2B in the actual artwork as the 2P skin costume variant in white. There's also promised to be other characters from the series, also some monster types that should be familiar to Nier Automata players, so likely the androids and possibly the aliens from that game. It's still very much something to get excited for, and there is still very little information out there on the plot or the details of the raid, which in some ways is a really good thing, bar that we know that there will be Nier themed outfits that apparently will be gender inspecific as gear, so you have the same outfit regardless of your character's gender. So I'm personally hoping for 2B's dress, and I think that's pretty high on the list of any glamour collector about now. Also in 5.1 we have the first part of the Ishgard restoration project. Specifically for crafting and gathering classes, it was confirmed in the latest live letter that despite the focus clearly being around custom deliveries and other untalked about methods to progress the server-wide progression of the restoration itself, there will in fact be, as it was said, going to be ways to contribute towards the restoration without needing a crafting or gathering profession, and therefore combat roles are not completely left out of the content, which was the voice of some fears first mentioned before 5.0 released. There is still no mention of the potential Ishgard housing, and they're keeping quiet on that seemingly, but if they do plan to continue with their original goal, the restoration's completion on your server may be the ultimate catalyst to unlock the future housing wards in Ishgard, yet this all remains to be confirmed and indeed seen. Other crafting additions are on the way, with a complete revamp of some actions and some of them being removed entirely. The same can be also said for the gathering classes, which is seeing the same sort of attention. The best new feature for crafting in 5.1 though has to be this new crafting recipe tree. This will allow you to plan all of your crafts within the contextual menus in the game without needing external sites, which is a wonderfully welcome quality of life addition in my opinion, and should seriously save you a lot of time. There will also be the first beast tribe of Shadowbringers in 5.1, the Pixies, featuring the usual quest hub, daily repeated quests and progressive questline through reputation unlocks and ultimately vendor rewards at the different reputation unlock tiers. There is no news on what those items may be yet, and they'll likely not address that information unless they tease that in the next live letter closer to October. Fellowships are a new feature in 5.1, which are a kind of like link shell, but you can't actually talk in them, there's no chat function, but aren't as close-knit either as a free company per se. Essentially they have a message board built into post onto in the game, and a recruitment tab for searching for fellowships that might interest you. And apparently you can send messages as announcements out to everyone in that fellowship, with a maximum player count in one of these going up to 1,000 members. This could be especially useful for hunt announcements, for example, or for roleplay communities and the like, to arrange event times and indeed ceremonies of eternal bonding, stuff like that. It's got a comprehensive UI and seems to be quite interesting, and I for one would love if they added a similar recruitment system in-game for free companies, but there are obviously no current plans mentioned to do so. New Game Plus is also making its debut in 5.1, allowing you to finally access a new menu system in-game and toggle New Game Plus mode on or off. The system has an autosave slot similar to the old Final Fantasy games or RPGs you played before, so you can reload your progress you saved when you toggle to the current story in Shadowbringers on and off, for example, whenever you like. It has no confirmed rewards, and the quests will not give rewards, it's confirmed either. It is seemingly for just redoing that chapter of a storyline again with your current character as it is. Whilst nothing has been given as a direct incentive to do this over actually just making a new character, it does offer the chance to jump back to any particular patch cycle if there's something in particular in your mind you just want to play through exclusively, which you cannot obviously do with a fresh character unless you level it all the way up. A new PvP frontline based in Viazim Steppe during a Nardam trial will be in 5.1. No information is given at this time really about what we'll be doing in there, but we have a singular screenshot to look at, and the setting sure enough looks like Viazim Steppe in all of its glory. Other PvP action balancing will also be in 5.1 along with this new map, so we'll have to see how they plan to address future PvP queue times by further diluting the pool with no random PvP roulette in existence or even on the horizon. Bard Perform is getting changes, a new user interface layout and overlay designed to simplify and help people learn the layout of their chosen input form for Perform is in its works, with new light up on-screen keys and a new metronome option to help you keep your time. The horn instrument also makes its debut as the streets of Limsa Lominsa cry in anticipation of jazz buskers. Yojimbo makes a return to the game, albeit as a fairground attraction. The Gold Sorcerer is seemingly getting a Fruit Ninja style minigame in the form of a new gate event, where you must seemingly not stand in any of the AoEs from Yojimbo slicing bamboo with his Zanmato. Presumably this will be similar then to Any Way the Wind Blows Gate, but clearly better, as it has Yojimbo involved, which already makes this content 10 times more appealing. Blue Mages can now hit level 60 in 5.1 with their new level cap, they get new job quests, and surprisingly a new piece of Blue Mage specific content known as the Blue Mage Logs. These are essentially challenge logs that list objectives which give certain rewards. Tomestones are mentioned as one such reward at this time. Players must group up with other Blue Mages to complete these tasks, and in addition they're adding new stages to the Masked Carnival if that's something you're remotely interested in. Not exactly the content then I had hoped for, but I have to sort of stay optimistic, even if you guys don't. An extreme version of the 5.0 ending trial is said to be in 5.1, which they obviously don't mention by name, which if you haven't cleared it yet, you'll want to catch up and complete that storyline, because I can assure you, judging by the normal version, the extreme of it is going to be pretty intense, to say the least. The next Ultimate is coming to the 5.1 cycle, set 2 weeks to release after 5.1's release. The speculation on the forums is something else entirely, and I advise you to go and join in with that. So what do you think the next raid for Ultimate will be? Will we finally see some Heavensward related fights after all of the 2.0 themed bosses that we've seen in the other Ultimates so far? Or will they stay in 2.0 and give us some surprises? Time will certainly tell. And finally, but clearly not least, is the next chapter of the main scenario storyline, which is set to continue down the path of explaining Emmett Selk and Amarot's backstory. Included in this is a new 4-player dungeon known as the Grand Cosmos. This is set to be quite interesting and potentially set inside another building in Amarot itself. Previous teased discussions with Banri Oda and Yoshi P in particular mentioned the possibility of exploring deeper in the city itself to the large building in Amarot that you currently can't get to. Could this perhaps be said building, and is this screenshot in the actual building itself in the first area? It's interesting to think of regardless, but is complete speculation. It is also said to additionally be possible to run this brand new dungeon with your trust NPCs as well, so that's pretty good. They said they would try to implement trust for the future storyline dungeons, and it looks like they're following up on that. In addition to this new storyline inside the dungeon, there is also set to be a return of characters from 5.0 and storylines individually involving them, so the likes of the large cat lady and her husband, and others will get some love in this patch. It's really quite an ambitious patch when you lay it all down in words, but for the most part my impression is that the way that they've been speaking about the majority of things are that they are in the final testing phases, and they appear to have plenty of time from now until late October's release of the patch for any needed QA time and TLC, so it should be pretty much on schedule and be up to the usual amazing standard that they're known for. Either way, I realise I covered this already in the live letter breakdown, but it's always nice to have a content video listing exactly what's announced as releases, so in many ways this is as much for me as it is for you guys, so I don't actually lose track of what's coming in particular, especially when so much is said during live letters and the various interviews we get each year. It can get quite muddled. Either way, thank you kindly for watching, and I'll see you all next time.